really successful businessman,
Yeah.
and then the newspaper headlines are, and I think this is like the late 80s, he's indicted for like tax and securities fraud.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was actually just kidding about that humble beginnings thing. Hard to grow up in a house like this and still pretend you're self-made, but Dan found a way.
Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Osa. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and comment on the video. Helps us with the algorithm. And if you enjoy the video, give a like, you know what I'm saying? Secondly, thank you guys for helping us reach 100 subscribers. I don't know what to even say. I mean, I didn't even realize we would get up to this point all the way back in October of last year. And it's a big accomplishment here for the channel, and thanks to you guys we were able to reach it, so thank you again. There's something special going on that I'm gonna release sometime around either this depending on when this video comes in, so maybe around this time next week or so, to show our appreciation for helping us get to 100 subscribers. So keep your eye out on that. I'll give you a hint, so you guys are a little bit ahead of the game since you're watching this video now. You're going to have to follow the Instagram page. So I'll leave the Instagram page on the bottom somewhere here. So that's call_A_Spade. So you'll see it on the screen when it pops up, and just screenshot that and follow the page. So that's definitely one of the hints there in order for you guys to be at least ahead of the game when the little special event is going to end up coming up in the near future. So sometime around in a few days, give or take. So going to give you a little bit of an edge in that department when that video does come out, alright? But again, thank you guys so much for just reaching to 100 subscribers, and it's only up from here. And I have so much stuff planned for you guys, for this channel, to help us reach into new levels and to help this channel reach new levels. So once again, thank you guys so much, alright? So today we're going to switch it up a little bit. Something I wanted to talk about for some time now. It's about perception. I tend to put certain images out or want to be portrayed as something or someone than who they are personally, right? So obviously social media is a big culprit of that, and with a whole shit ton of people posting pictures of what they like to call highlights, basically, right? You see it all over on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, even to a certain extent, Twitter, right? So people like to post certain highlights of their life to paint a picture of, oh, I am this person or I am that person, the whole fake it till you make it persona that people like to do. So in this case, this also helps out with certain YouTubers or certain quote-unquote popular figureheads, where they portray this certain image of themselves or whatnot, and then they use that image to gain some sort of backing or following, right? So in order to prove my point, I'm going to talk about two individuals. One goes by the name of Derrick Jaxn, and the other one that goes by the name of Bilzerian, right? So these two are very interesting individuals, because I think sometime around earlier this year, right? Both of them got exposed. For one, we'll start with Derrick Jaxn. Derrick Jaxn, if those who don't know who Derrick Jaxn is, he was a self-proclaimed relationship guru who basically, just to keep it short, was pandering to women, specifically black women, right? So later on, he's been doing this for decades. He's been doing it for a while, so he's been around even since YouTube kind of came out. He's been around for a while, doing this for a long time, has built a humongous following. But sometime around this year, he's been exposed for cheating on his wife. So he's married to this lovely lady, and he cheated on her, right? So this was freaking hilarious, including to me, because for all these years he's been bashing, men, basically, of all of the shortcomings of a relationship. Basically, like, if such and such happened, it's his fault, even though maybe both parties might have been involved in the end of that said relationship, or maybe even major person who caused the relationship to end, regardless of the reason. It was always the man's fault. Now, granted, you know, he would have a few videos here and there where he would make sense in any capacity, like, oh, okay, yeah, like, yes, this is such and such fault, regardless of who he's pointing the finger towards. But rarely the case where accountability is being expressed when it comes to women and their roles in their relationship. It was always the man's fault, right? So, me being a black man who's heard about him constantly, it's annoying. But he being a black man and then seeing him being exposed for cheating on his wife of all people is quite funny to me. I mean, it's quite hilarious to me. And then the fallout was even more funny because he ends up coming out and I wish if I could find the video, I'll definitely find it. I could definitely get the video, but he ends up coming out trying to explain himself, basically saying,
Derrick Jaxn here, and today I am joined by my lovely wife, Danae, and we just wanted to address a couple of things. You know, we understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derrick Jaxn was involved with other women, cheating, affair, stepping out, definitely not in alignment with the vows that I took.
He comes up with his wife saying that, you know, hey, he told his wife about this. His wife understood it, but, you know, obviously she's, you know, at the same time she expressed that she didn't leave, even though he didn't say anything. But what was more alarming about it was how he was talking to himself as though he was some protagonist in some story. He was some protagonist, and the narrator was another version of himself reading out the script, basically, right? Talking to himself in the third person. So, and it was so profound. Like, you can just see it. You can just see it. Like, oh my gosh! Like, somebody was so self-absorbed to the point where he's even taking himself out of the whole entire situation and saying that, oh, nah, this said version of me was the one who did this. Like, this said version of me is the one who leads to learn, as though he has some type of higher ground that he cannot be untouched or whatever, right? So, and then the last thing that he did was do a reaction video to his own video.
Let's do it. And by the way, I'm gonna speak in third person. A lot of you already seen this. This is Derrick Jaxn. A lot of people think of him as a relationship expert and guru and all of that. Well, he and his wife are making this video because apparently at some point in their marriage, or maybe even beforehand in the relationship, he didn't take his own advice and he stepped out and he got involved with other women, as you heard. Now, upon first impression, nothing really stuck out to me about him, but more so about the wife. But just by her body language, I was really wondering, like, did he force her to do this video? Like, she looks super uncomfortable, like she doesn't want to be there. But then I watched their live chat that they did right afterwards, and, you know, I kind of caught that this is just a part of her personality, so that kind of explains somewhat of her demeanor. You know, she clearly has a mind of her, not only because somebody can be living a double life, which I don't think is quite the case here, according to his wife, behind the scenes, without anybody knowing. Of course, this part ain't gonna blow up, but he's been putting in the work to kind of reconstruct where that all had been broken since last year. So I don't think it's a double life thing, but I'm more so on the side of his wife and just basically letting this be a new chapter of how I see him, because I do believe that his content over the years has helped a tremendous amount of people. You know, he tells the truth, he speaks facts. Some people are gonna close the book on this dude and say, you know what, I'm done with you, cancel culture, come here. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. And by the way, he has a book detailing how he and his wife overcame all of this in their private lives.
The amount of self-absorbance and narcissistic behavior that he was portraying that whole entire week or so, that the spotlight was like shined in on him, basically, was insane, absolutely insane. And I'm glad he was exposed for who he was. Like, people needed to see, like, hey, people don't live by their own but what they say. Like, people don't do what they say. People don't live by a certain code that they try to preach to you, because that code does not exist, right? That code is not true, or it's not real. So the fact that he was able to, the fact that he got exposed for it, and people was silently seeing what me and millions and hundreds of thousands of other men knew about him all along, that he was a fucking fraud, and that was just fucking hilarious, like so funny. Oh my goodness. The second person was Dan Bilzerian, right? So Dan Bilzerian is also a self-proclaimed self-made billionaire.
Dan Bilzerian.
I just have bitches around me all the time. I'd be jet skiing. I'd be driving around in Ferraris and private jets. You're living like a life that doesn't even seem real.
But then recently they found out that was a lie, right? So for those of you who don't know Dan Bilzerian was was a former poker player, to his credit, right? But apparently he not necessarily was really good at it, per se, right? When story started, no. Before we get to that, he was a poker player that made probably the most earning, I think $200 million in it or so. I'll put the video up for a little bit of reference though, but apparently he made $200 million off of poker alone, and he was one of the wealthiest poker players in the game, right? But later on, it comes to find out that Dan wasn't necessarily the best player. It wasn't really even above average, really. Like, he was losing a lot. Money-wise, he wasn't really winning too much, truly. And even some of the best poker players that are out right now, though, haven't reached that much in total earnings that they've been in the game for like decades on decades, right? So when it came out that Dan Bilzerian wasn't necessarily who he said he was, a lot of people started to question other aspects of his life. You see, Dan was always this boisterous person that was showing a certain lifestyle and was bolstering a certain lifestyle, where they showed that he was trying to show people that look what fame and wealth really brings to me, right? So his lifestyle was like mansions and a whole lot of women, like a whole ton of women around him at all times, workout videos, all this macho-ness basically, right? To go ahead and try to perceived as this top dog of a person, right? And then what really broke the camel's back here was his business, his weed dispensary business, right? Something called, I don't know if it's called Insignia, right, or not, but it was a weed business that he started. And funny enough, he didn't, start this in the United States, started in Canada, which there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in a little bit. But the business, started off as $11 per share or so. And then later on, as the business kept, as the days go by, the business started to lose lots of money.
Dan Bilzerian launched the company Ignite, selling everything from cannabis products to clothing, vapes, and beverages. This fucking guy was plastering his stupid goat logo on anything he could get his greasy fingers on. $39.99 for placebo gummies? Like, if this were the Lorax, I'm sure Dan would find a way to slap the Ignite logo on a bottle of air too. But by February 2019, Ignite was off to the races, with the brand finally going public on the Canadian stock market, debuting at a share price of about $2.51. All the meanwhile, the Ignite House YouTube channel, hosted by models Desi and Kayla, began pumping out lifestyle vlog type content that showcased even more details of Dan's highly luxurious daily routine.
You want to run naked at Elon's house? Yep. No. Seems like it's fun. No. You're right.
Fail.
Everybody wanted to do it.
Fail.
I'll give somebody.
I think Dan should run naked.
All right. That's an offer. If any of y'all do it, I'll give you $50,000.
I'll do it.
Okay. Somebody get her a fucking bicycle.
I mean, what?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
She's gonna knock on his door. If he answers the door, $50,000.
If he answers the door.
Yeah.
What if he doesn't? No deal.
$10,000 just for going.
My Instagram is redheadray, R-A-Y-E. So there you go, guys. You can stop asking now.
She loves dick pics. Slide in the DMs.
Yeah, nothing weird or toxic to see here, folks.
She's running away.
No.
She says, no, I can't do it.
I'm gonna be right back.
She's gonna be she's off camera. She's gonna contemplate things. There'll be many Uber drivers checking her out as they drive by there.
Along with the new brand, Dan also boasted his massive purchase of a $63 million mansion on CNBC with the guy from Shark Tank, completely decked out with a 12-foot waterfall, infinity pool, tennis courts, and a parking lot fit for a fucking airplane. Not a bad start, especially considering Dan's rampant social media presence reaching an estimated 500 million people every month. The company should have no problem getting off the ground and selling CBD oil to the masses, right? Right? Well, maybe Dan should have stayed in business school.
The mansions, the yachts, the parties, the models. How does Dan Bilzerian, the globe-trotting, cash-stacking, gun-toting, Instagram-boasting, partying playboy do it? According to a lawsuit filed this week, he doesn't. Dan Bilzerian rents his house and charges the rest of his six-figure lifestyle to a credit card that someone else pays off.
Culprit of them that business losing lots of money was Dan Bilzerian himself, because Dan was constantly spending money on on rents on a mansion that was like $200,000 every month or so, or $20,000 every month or so, like some ridiculous number. The countless amounts of women he was paying for them to be around and be in his videos whenever he's recording. The parties that he was throwing, constant money just being like lost over, just being spent over and over. Even in some ridiculous purchases that he has. Like I remember there was a video that showed like a $15,000 billboard table that was like a ridiculous amount of money that was unnecessary. A lot of unnecessary spending was going on, and it came to a head. Well, I mean, his business is still rocking up in Canada per se, if I remember correctly. But I know that the profits from the ratio between spending and revenue was so much of a gap in favor of spending that the business is going under basically, and he ended up firing the president because the former president of his company is about to spilling the beans right now. So that's going to be a lot of nasty stuff going on. Lawyers and a civil lawsuits for money, stuff like that is going to start coming up pretty soon. But one of the reasons the reason why he actually started the business in Canada was because in the United States, and this is how he got the money basically, or at least we're trying to put two and two together here. In the United States, his father was a former Wall Street broker or something. He worked around Wall Street. That's not necessarily like his title or whatnot, but he did work around Wall Street, where he would basically alter numbers, right? So alter events and kind of dictate when certain stocks was going to rise or was going to fall, right? And then with that type of knowledge, he was able to dictate how the market was going and put it to his favor, where he made tons of money. But that also landed him in jail. Like right now, his father's currently in prison, and they're looking for a certain amount of money that I think it was $60 million or so, give or take. But there's a certain amount of money that the government is looking for him to pay back. But apparently, once he paid a certain amount of money, I think the money that he paid was $60 million, and then he still had to give like another 140 million still left. But apparently, once he reached a threshold, he said that he had no money at all. Like he filed for bankruptcy and stuff. Like there was no money left to give out, that he didn't know where it was. But you tend to find out years down the road later that Dan Bilzerian was now a multi-millionaire out of nowhere, right? So I come to say is that Dan built an image where he was like, oh, I got it from the bootstraps. I worked hard. He would say he was a former Navy SEAL. You know, that still was also a lie, that him being a Navy SEAL, he only got up to, I think, 2 days before he was going to graduate as a Navy SEAL. Like, he did go to the training or whatnot, but he never went all the way. And because of some conduct or morale issues that he had with the others that was going through the training program with him. But he built up this story about being this person who got it from the ground up, really got it from the mud per se, and then now he's this multi-millionaire, and then try to sell it to other people like, hey, you can live this lifestyle too. But the lifestyle was never true to begin with. So these two men were trying to give something of what I like to call a false reality, right? A false reality being that life is not such a false reality being that life is not some sort of dystopia, right? Or some sort of thing that everything goes right per se, right? We will like everything to go right, like everything to go our way, but in reality, that's not always the case, right? In reality, it's hard work. It's trying to be better than you were the day before. It's a constant struggle with you and yourself, mostly. And even sometimes, you might add in other outside parties. That's up to you, depending on what type of thing you're doing, right? So, like for example, I'm rapping. Obviously, outside parties are gonna, chime in and say what they want to say or whatnot, whenever they get a chance to. But like I said before, at the end of the day, you are fighting against yourself constantly, and just off of that logic alone, you're not always going to be 100% all the time, and thus, with you not always being 100% all the time, you're not going to always succeed at everything 100% of the time. Does not mean you won't get everything eventually, but 100% of the time, no, that's something that you're not going to do because of the fact that you're constantly fighting yourself and trying to be better than who you were yesterday. And sometimes you will lose that battle, and sometimes you will lose that battle, and sometimes that would be, and just because of that, you're not going to always get everything you want all the time, right? But with this perception that these two men try to make in terms of relationship and basically lifestyle, personally, right? They both fall under the whole entire lifestyle circle of it. The perception these two are trying to do, flimsy at best, and it's not life. It's not life at all. Like, you have to understand that you are not what you want in life. It's not going to be easy. It's not. Your life will test you in ways that you didn't think you could be tested before, right? It's going to test you physically, mentally, emotionally, right? There's so many roadblocks that you're going to have to go through, and it's not the utopia of, oh, hey, it's always the man's fault, or hey, you can get this lifestyle if you do such and such and such, right? Or this is the results you're going to get once you reach this level. Like, even some millionaires are not even living the life that Dan was even trying to portray. It's not even some. Most millionaires are not even living the life that Dan was trying to portray, because it's, first of all, it's money wasting. That's one. Two, it's not sustainable. It's definitely not. It's unsustainable. It's an unsustainable lifestyle that at the end of the day you're gonna end up losing. So the question now is, well, what do you strive for then, right? If it's not the money, if it's not the women, if it's not the houses, if it's not the cars, what do you strive for then, right? It's all about knowing what you want, really sitting down, knowing what you want, and going from there. And being authentic with yourself 100% of the time, especially, and that includes what you put out and what you put out into the world for people to see you as. Are you going to be 100% thorough through and through from the inside and outside whenever you're trying to present yourself to the world, or are you going to be like these two men who are trying to perceive a lifestyle that never could exist, was never sustainable to begin with, right? So that's something to think about. That's my overall point on this whole thing. I think the two guys are fucking clowns. I thought they were clowns for a while now, but Dan surprised me a little more than Derrick. Derrick, I knew was a clown. Like that was already set. But Dan surprised me a little bit more because, the perception that he made of like, oh, this is something you can strive for. This is something that that can be obtainable, while us being unprivy to to the fact that he was paying for models, he was renting out mansions, basically trying to show a lifestyle that he never was truly living to begin with. And even some of the stuff, there's even videos, I think I'll leave a link down in scripture where, you know, making some of the women try to do stuff that they were really uncomfortable to do. Like, they were even uncomfortable even being there at the moment. And then, you know, even though they were paid, but they were still uncomfortable about it. And then to try to put them in situations where they were uncomfortable, it was just, the whole situation is just nasty with him. And kind of seeing like the flip side of that type of image that he was trying to portray to other people, to other people, specifically guys who are who have low self-esteem, who, you know, who really are not doing well in life, basically, in any aspect of it. You know, to try to, you know, pride on those types of that type of people, to pride on those guys' feelings and mentality, and that type of low mentality that they have at the moment. To pride on that is disgusting to me, and that's totally some loser shit that I don't condone whatsoever. So out of the two, I think I'm more disgusted with Dan. Derrick has been through and through. We already knew Derrick was a clown through and through, like from the beginning he started. So that's nothing, all right. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys so much once again for helping us reach 100 subscribers. The video will be out shortly about the special event that we have going on. Once again, if you want to get a head start at it, follow the podcast Instagram account at Call It a Spade. Check us out. Make sure you follow, because that's definitely one of the things that you're going to need to do in order to enter this event that I have planned for you guys in the coming days. All right. Once again, be sure to like, comment, share the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed already. Hit the bell next to the name. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you haven't done, so that you're notified whenever I drop a video. And then I'm gonna leave you guys with this last question. How important is your image, and is it so important that you cannot be yourself 100% of the time to gain that certain thing? And is it worth it to still gain that certain thing, right? That's something I'm gonna leave you guys with. Leave an answer in the comment section down below if you have an answer to that question. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, alright?
Yo, 4 in the morning, come home from work yawning. Light pierces the clouds, skies dawning. You there cooking up in the kitchen, let me eat in peace. You don't stress me by washing the dishes. I lift up your dress shirt, I see your panties missing. I thought fatigue got the best of me, but I